By show of hands, how many of us have taken some pictures outside? All right. By show of hands, how many have posted those pictures that you've taken outside? All right, a few of you, let's correct that. The hashtag to use is Women in Manufacturing and WIM Awards KE. If you haven't taken a picture outside, we can do that right now. Please take your phones out of your handbags or your pockets for the men. Take a selfie with the person next to you and please post. Say a little bit about what you expect this evening. Remember to use the hashtag Women in Manufacturing and WIM Awards KE. And of course, do remember to tag the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. All right, well done. Thank you also. We'll start our evening with dinner. Dinner is ready, and then after dinner, we'll get into the awarding ceremony. So just a quick one. Soup will be served on the table. And once soup is served, we've got 2 serving points for dinner. We're having a buffet dinner, so I'll ask the first row in front of me and the last row on the other end. We will be serving from that side and this side. And thereafter, we will go to the next rows. So I'll invite our band to come back and entertain us. That's the Boombox Band. Let's give them a warm round of applause for setting up our evening. It's such amazing spirits. So enjoy dinner. Let the music and conversations continue to flow as we prepare to celebrate the remarkable achievements of women driving progress in manufacturing. Enjoy dinner. We'll see you in a moment.
up all night to get lucky. We're 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 up all night to get lucky.
Heavy, heavy rain. In an hour, it looks like.
We must have been stone crazy when we thought we were just friends, because I miss you, baby, and I got those feelings again. Oh, deep down I'm still confused about you. Yes, I am, and I feel so in love, oh baby. What can I do? I've been thinking about you. 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 Got you on my mind. Come on. Suddenly we're strangers, and I want you walking away. He was my one temptation, but I did not want her to stay. Oh, deep down I'm still confused about you. Yes, I am, and I feel so in love, oh baby. And what can I do? I've been thinking about you. 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 Got you on my mind, Baba. Oh, deep down I'm still confused about you. Yes, I am, and I feel so in love, oh baby. What can I do? I've been thinking about you.
Door closest to you, and I'll be back to ask the next rows to follow suit. I'd also like to let you know that the bar is open as we have our dinner. I see the EABL table came with their own cheering squad. The bar is open, so feel free to grab something as you have your dinner, and we will be kicking off once we're done. So first row, please feel free to walk out to the serving points, and the last row at the back, please feel free to walk out. for making the extra effort. Thank you so much for making the effort. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We are now ready to kick off. My name is Terry Ann Chebet, and I'm really excited about this evening. Under the theme, Accelerating Action, we will be honoring visionary women who are breaking barriers and shaping the future of manufacturing. So ladies and gentlemen, we will have a couple of speeches this evening just to tell us a little bit about tonight. And thereafter, we'll get into the awarding ceremony. And we will be looking at different categories. The Women in Manufacturing Startup or Innovator of the Year, the ESG Warrior Award, the Executive of the Year. We'll have a Lifetime Achiever Award and Industrialist of the Year Award. So without much further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker this evening, who will be welcoming us to the ceremony, who will tell us a little bit more about why we are here. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the CEO of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Mr. Tobias Alando, who's wearing his touch of purple. Let's give him another warm round of applause.
Good evening, ladies. Good evening, ladies. And a few gentlemen. We're excited to be here today. I want to appreciate each and everyone. And I think you should give your neighbor, if you're not eating, a high five and thank them for showing up. I want to start by appreciating the board members who are here. Marianne is a board member, Joyce and Ashitu was here. I want to appreciate our chief guest, who all the way from Uganda. We are glad to have you here, Madam Agnes. I want to also to appreciate the presence of the Commissioner of Customs, Madam Lillian. Thank you for gracing this occasion. I want to appreciate, of course, the chair of WIM and the vice chair of WIM, all the leaders, a former chair of WIM, Meringeshu, who is also here, all the leaders of sectors present, MD Exotic EPZ, Madam Jane, Karibu Sana. Our partners from Keproba, KEBS, KRA, I think I've mentioned, and all the women who are here today. Now, if you read the scriptures say that the makers of heaven and earth looked down and say the man was lonely. They looked at man. Man was created first. And they looked at man and they said the man was, repeat, the man was, and he needed who? Not a woman, a helper. He needed a helper. I want you to get the point that a man needed a helper. It is not the woman who needed, it is the man who needed. That is why today, a man will never be alone. He will either be with a woman, or with a bottle of beer, or a glass of wine. Because he always needs who? And I'm proud to all the helpers in the house. All the helpers in the house say a yay. As the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we are proud to be associated with WIM. This is indeed a key part of achieving our vision in ensuring that women are not just included, but actively leading in industrial growth, and innovation. Women bring immense value to the manufacturing sector, yet they continue to face barriers that limit their full participation. Challenges such as access to finance, markets, and industrial networks. You realize women don't need a helper. They just need an opportunity for them to thrive. I only got one clap. From our former chair, also Madam Flora, thank you for joining and gracing this occasion. As the Association of Manufacturers, looking at what has happened this year, in fact, to the chair and the vice chair of WIM, this is the biggest event WIM has ever had, ever. In fact, we were discussing in the table that the next event we are going to be in a bigger space, because we are going to have more women showcasing and celebrating their successes. Through WIM, we have provided different programs to capacitate women, mentorship, networking opportunities, policy and advocacy that is aimed at making manufacturing sector more inclusive. This program called WIM has enabled women entrepreneurs and professionals to scale their businesses, strengthen their competitiveness, and contribute to Kenya's industrial development. In fact, I'm going to propose to the chair of WIM and the board that next time we can consider organizing a WIM regional event, an East African Women in Manufacturing event, so that we encourage and promote women in manufacturing beyond our borders. And that is indeed possible. This is indeed also aligned to our strategy in terms of women in manufacturing as one of the key pillars of our strategy, that in the next couple of years we want to focus on strengthening women, and we are partnering with various agencies, all the banks that are here. If you are from any bank, please raise your hand. We appreciate all the banks that are represented here. Thank you very much for coming. Let's clap for our financiers. We have also been working with our development partners, GIZ and Trademark Africa. I'm not sure whether they are here. Anyone from GIZ or Trademark Africa? Yes, we acknowledge them. Please clap for them. They have done a great work in supporting this conversation around women. As I close, because I don't want to tell you a lot of stories, you know why we are all here, to celebrate what women have done in this country. I want to end by telling you an African short story. This story is drawn from a village in in West Africa, a village called Yakiri. And in this village called Yakiri, there was a young woman or a young lady called Ya. And Ya, while she was growing up, one day she decided, while they were herding cattle in the farm, she decided to participate in wrestling match with other young boys. And because she participated in a wrestling match, it was a sign of transitioning from one level to another. And she won. Because she won, the village elders all ganged up, because this has not been a norm. We've never seen a woman engaging in wrestling and defeating men. But this young girl won the wrestling, and she was treated badly in the village. And because she was treated badly in the village, the story says the village received what we call ancestral curse. If there is any woman here who has done what Ya has done, definitely there is a curse to people who are looking down upon you. But what happened after many years, when Ya became old, gave up, had a family, the granddaughter, who was now called Yaya, did the same thing. She excelled in education. She became one of the best in education, and she wanted to continue with education. But the community was saying, why should we educate a young woman who is going to be married and go to another village, so our village will not benefit? But Yaya went beyond what was expected, and she made an impact on that village. She ended up even helping those villagers. And as we sit here today, I know there are many Ya and Yayas who have gone beyond the norms, who have gone beyond traditions. Very few people believe that we could have a woman leading a manufacturing company, a woman doing a manufacturing business. But here you are today. Ladies and gentlemen, please shine on, and may we have more Ya and Yayas. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alando. Let's give him another warm round of applause.
Good evening, ladies. Good evening, Simumekula. Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, you look lovely, and I'm really, really so proud to be standing here. This is a program we began with when I was in CAM. In my days, I can see a lot of the suspects here. We sat down and we just kept saying, we're tired of just receiving the same few people in manufacturing. And yet, women manufacturing, and we manufacture, and we know that. You know, there's always somebody doing like a side hustle, twisting something here. I'm selling, I don't know, lotion. I'm selling something. That's manufacturing. And that's how this whole idea came to be. And so here we are. So they had asked me just to speak a little bit about the AFCFTA and what that experience has been for us. So of course we're very proud that our previous president had the vision to actually call this to life, and you could see Africa was ready for it, because I don't think there's any other trade agreement that has been ratified that fast. Actually, it has gone down in history as unbelievable. So of the 54, I know there was a little bit of a slow start, but I think now I hear 53 have signed up. And like I would like to say, it was about time. And why is that? If you look at inter-European trade, how Europe trades with each other, the percentage is as high as 65%. So products moving across Europe, 65%. Products moving across Asia is around 45%. Do you know what the percentage of products moving in Africa? There's a story between 13 and 17, 18. We're not even sure, because we're not even sure of our own data. So, well, it's true. Even when you read some of these stats, they say we sort of have this idea, you know, a rough idea. But let's even take it's 18. 18 out of 65. Seriously, there's a lot we need to do. So then you come up with a bright idea, and I'm sure a lot of you have tried to export. And you're saying, I'm going to take my product, a customer has called you from South Africa, and here you are. You send your quotation, and then they ask you, how will I pay? Dollars. Why is it in dollars? So you have to convert to dollars. They have to convert to dollars. Somebody somewhere is gaining. It's not you and it's not them. And so you send off your, you try and get your product in. Next issue is, of course, registration. Kama kebs they sumbua us here. Can you imagine dealing with kebs there? These are real life challenges that we go through. So first you send your product, they say, we need the actual product. So fine, who am I sending to? X. You send to X. Where do I pay? Y. You pay Y. You call. You check. You push. And nothing is still happening. But they're telling you it's in the system. It's in the process. More or less, I guess what is happening here. Finally, you get a way around and you get your product in. And somebody says, yes, I will import your product. Can you give me credit? I'm like, what? You crazy? I don't know you for nothing. How do I do due diligence? Which CRB am I going to take you to if you don't pay? So you tell them cash up front. Half they drop off. The others that either believe in your product, they've seen it somewhere, they sort of stay with you, they hold on. And then, of course, you start doing your trade agreements and you get your product in the country. Then next they tell you, we're trying to list, we can't list. We're trying to make a sale, it is difficult. It's not you can't list, they list. And they start getting it sold. But of course now you start have to doing country marketing. Now you're here in Kenya. How are you going to country market in that country? That becomes yet another challenge that you have to sort of overcome. Once you get that going, then in comes another order and another and another. So one of the ways we decided to go around this is instead of just doing direct sales like that, we got an importing distributor. So you're strong enough to import, you're strong enough to do the marketing, and all we do, thank God to COVID, is we sort of we train them from here. We do what we do here in those countries. So about 2021, 2022, some Kenyans get together, or was it before COVID? Get together and they say, this is Ghana, we want Kenyan tea. So I'm like, yeah. So they come in, they place an order, and their kebs is pretty strong. So I said, okay, fine. And they said, don't worry, we'll cover this. And they did, and they went and they took it to kebs. It took, this is now when the AFCTA really started working. They had a program called the GTI, which is Guided Trade Initiative, meaning they had green channeled everything. So if you just call the AFCTA office, you say, I'm having a problem with standards, they'll call the standard office and whatever. Despite all that, it still took us 6 months to get registered in Ghana. So you get your product registered in Ghana, the guy paid, we send the product there. When it gets there, they take a packet of tea and they open and they count and they count and they say, this one had 88 tea bags. This one had 84. This one had 92. You're not there to substantiate. These are just some of the little challenges that you have to overcome. So I'm thinking, if you're a SME or a smaller organization, I'm not saying we're whatever, but we made a little bit of headway. Okay, put me so many years back. That is not a conversation I could have been having, because it is difficult to get through. So anyway, finally, after calling the secretariat called, they're trying to do regional standardization. Secretariat now called the standard body in Ghana, and they said, listen, we know these are ISO certified. For us, we tell them, we even know the batch that is there. We definitely know there are 100 tea bags in that thing. But what is it? It's non-tariff barriers. So as much as we've gone around and lifted tariff barriers, there then comes non-tariff barriers that then block you from entering. And it was kind of obvious because when you listen to our competitors, people are more or less having the same, not even competitors in the same field, but other people also exporting into those countries. So I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm just telling you that exporting is, AFCFTA is a reality. There are some countries that have opened up, pretty simple to get in. You walk in, you get your registration, and you come out. So once you overcome barriers, the other barrier now you would find there is transport. Transporting goods in Africa is just something. I know you truck the goods, but getting the trucks through is yet another challenge. The cost of doing business. It's cheaper for me to send my goods to Dubai or to the UK than it is to send it down south. And these are areas that we all need to, we need to continue to ask the government to address for us. So basically, my message, and that has been our experience. You get in, you get out, you get in, you get out, but with persistence and, you'll stay there, you'll sort it out. There is the office that really, really helps, the AFCTA Secretariat. Definitely you'll be able to get your goods in. So I do know Kenya has had some wins, not only in tea, I think it's in coffee, I know in all these kind of products. But of course, our largest exporter, Kenyan exports, is Uganda, where I think we're approximately 12.3% of Kenyan exports go to Uganda, followed, I think, by Tanzania, Rwanda a little bit, not so much, and then Egypt. Now, Egypt is another country. Whoa. Cartels, at least in our tea section, a lot of cartels. You're there, you're even saying, leave AFCTA, we have COMESA. But what we realized later is the government is very protective around value-added tea, and they have a whole line that does value-added tea themselves. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. But I think like everything else and all these magnets of business I can see here, it's just persistence, finding the right person to talk to. And I think it can happen. And it has been happening. I know services is a big one. Borders down to AFCFTA. So I think my message is it's possible, it's happening. We do need to deal with a lot of non-tariff barriers, cost of getting goods across. The whole transport movement of person is not as easy as it is, because those are the steps now that we are willing to take. But take heart, it can happen, it has happened, and we're going to continue doing it. Thank you.
Will be. It's always better to come in at the beginning rather than come in later when it has already been shaped. So Flora, thank you so much for once again leading that path for many of us. I'd like to now invite Michelle Wambua from GIZ Kenya. GIZ has played quite a huge role in as far as advising and supporting women in manufacturing in as far as AFCFTA is concerned. So I'd like to welcome Michelle Wambua to tell us a little bit about how that journey has been. And I hope you're paying attention, especially those of you who still think, oh, we're too small, we can't still move. GIZ has really played a big role. So let's put our hands together for Michelle Wambua.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Michelle Wambua. Thank you. When I was asked to speak this evening, or rather when I got the invitation to speak this evening, I was told, of course, that the theme is accelerating action and that it's women in manufacturing. So at first I thought to myself, women in manufacturing? You're inviting a guy. But very quickly I realized that as much as it may be intimidating to speak before all these ladies tonight, I think I was raised for this moment because I have 4 sisters. And so very early on, I learned that if you don't listen carefully and choose your words wisely, then you'll end up doing all the dishes and apologizing for everything. So this evening, my role is very simple. I had been asked to talk about the African Continental Free Trade Area. You've been hearing AFCFTA a lot. I've been given a few items I need to touch on, but you'll allow me to break away from these items and just be realistic tonight. I don't think you expect me to come here and read for you a prepared speech that's all beautiful and flowery. I want us to go down and get right into the issues and paint the picture that is currently facing us so that you can know what to expect. So members of the board, chief guest, Commissioner Customs, and all invited guests, it is indeed a pleasure to be joining you tonight in this auspicious occasion, and especially at the background of celebrating International Women's Day. I had a lot of excitement on my shoulders to be speaking tonight, quite honestly. First, because I'm very passionate about women. I've just told you my background. But secondly, because I'm speaking on something that I'm very passionate about, international trade. To give you a little bit about my background is in international trade. As Terian has just told you, GIZ as an organization has been supporting the government of Kenya to negotiate and now to implement the AFCFTA. And so as I was thinking about what to reflect on tonight and what to share with you as exporters or export-ready companies and women in manufacturing, you'll be surprised at where my mind went. First, my mind went to Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. Some of you may know Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima. She was in the Mau Mau. And as you know, the Mau Mau was mainly composed of men. And so it was the only woman, Muthoni wa Kirima, who joined the Mau Mau as a field marshal, amongst other women. I don't know if you know the role that women played in the Mau Mau. And I know you know the role that the Mau Mau played, because when we talk about independence, when we talk about the founding of this country, we talk about how Mau Mau fought for our independence. But how many of us know the role that women played? That's what I was reflecting upon. You will recall that it is the ladies who are in the Mau Mau during the guerrilla warfare tactics that carried the guns for the men. And we know where they carried the guns, don't we? Between their thighs. That was the role that women were playing for the Mau Mau way before independence. So the first thought I had was about Muthoni wa Kirima. Then quickly my mind went on to Wangari Maathai, who we know so well. And what an interesting location we are in tonight, because it's just down the road where we have Freedom Corner, where Wangari Maathai fought so fervently for our environment to be conserved, for trees not to be uprooted so that skyscrapers may adorn the city. I don't know how much we appreciate Wangari Maathai now or how much we appreciated her then, but the Nairobi we live in, partly, I don't know how good it is anymore, but partly, is as a result of the fight she had to keep our environment as is. And then very quickly, my mind also went to Professor Michere Githai Mugo, who died last year. A great activist in her literature, activist in fighting for the clamor for independence, activist in many regards. It is Professor Githai Mugo who told us, "I will not dance to your beat. I know that song too well." Now, why was I reflecting upon these 3 ladies? It's very simple. Because these were ladies who were not given power. They took it. These were ladies who saw an opportunity and they took it. These were ladies whose contributions to different parts of our society as we know it today was ignored. And these were ladies who shaped our country as we know it today. I don't know if you're seeing the parallels yet to women in manufacturing. It is at this point that I thought to myself, are we repeating history where women do the work but don't control the wealth? Now, we know the statistics. The CEO here just told us about how women are excluded in terms of financial inclusivity. We know the role that women play in the SMEs. We know the role they play in manufacturing. Melvin's CEO has rightly pointed out that there's a lot that women do even in the small-scale sector. We know who picks tea. She's from the tea industry. We know who picks tea. It's the women. We know how much women contribute to our society, but we know how much they're excluded as well. And so, as I reflected upon these things, I thought to myself, we did not come this far just to come this far. As we celebrate women in manufacturing tonight, as we think about exporting beyond Kenya into Africa, we must begin to consider within ourselves what role must women play in the society in order for this idea, because it is an idea, but in order for this idea to be completely realized, so that it's not aspirational. Toni Morrison said, "The function of racism is distraction. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being." That's the function of economic exclusion. It keeps women explaining, pitching, justifying their right to capital, their right to participation. And in 2025, I think we need to start addressing the elephant in the room. So let me now talk a bit about what I was actually told. Please, you must touch on the AFCFTA. The African Continental Free Trade Area is indeed the largest free trade area in the world. 54 African states have signed up, 48 have ratified. What this means is that African governments have signaled that they want intra-African trade to take place. That when I go to Accra, Ghana, for example, as I sit in Accra, I'm taking Melvin's tea. When I go to South Africa, as I sit in South Africa, for example, I'm using a shoe that has been manufactured in Kenya. I'm thinking Enda. When I go to Egypt, another example, as I sit in Egypt, the products that I'm using, the services that I'm consuming are Kenyan products. I mean, I know we have our neighbor in the room from Uganda, but you'll allow me for just a few minutes to be biased about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, and the reality of this. For us to realize this African market that we keep being told about, this huge promise, this is not the first huge promise we've been told. And as women, you know all too well about false promises. I don't want to mention who makes them, but you know all too well about false promises. And this is not the first time we are being told that this will open markets for you. So what is it that we must do to change this? That we actually realize the potential of the AFCFTA. And it is this. Yes, we talk about being export ready. Yes, we talk about exporting to African markets. But it's about competition. It's really about competition. You know what they say about charity? It begins at home. Unless you're competitive at home, you will not be able to compete in the Ghanaian market. You will not be able to compete in the South African market or in DRC Congo. These markets, yes, they will be opened up, but until and unless that we are able to compete, then that will remain an illusion. I won't touch on what the CEO already touched on about financial inclusivity. We have enough banks in the room to tell you about that. Let me touch something a bit uncomfortable that some of us only want to whisper about. Maybe I should have told you a bit of what my day looks like, but it's about trade policy. 90%, or actually 92.7%, because we have the statistics, of my time is spent doing paperwork. I'm seated next to a lady by the name Eunice, who works for CKL in finance, and she told me, I can't do paperwork or I can't do policy for my life because it's too boring. But I find it exciting. So 92% of the time, or 92.7% of the time, is spent doing paperwork. 5.3%, which is the most exciting of the time, is spent in factories. Just yesterday, we visited, Ashit was here, we visited his factory and a few other factories in Nakuru. And the reason behind this visit is really to understand the market. Because you can sit in the office, talk about how AFCTA is opening opportunities, talk about the countries people can export to, talk about the market requirements. But until you interact, for example, with Melvin's, and they tell you that we have a problem because it took 6 months, until you see the processes and the actual rubber meeting the road, you might not understand trade policy completely. But the thing we are being told in these factory visits, which is what I want to talk about as I conclude, the thing people are whispering about but no one is speaking much about, is that currently it's not a very favorable market. The Kenyan market is not a favorable market for competition. It's not a favorable market for manufacturing. And I thought I must reflect upon this, especially when I'm talking about women in manufacturing. And I'll tell you why. I've told you about Professor Michere Mugo. I've told you about Wangari Maathai. I've told you about Wangari Wakirima. Her name had escaped my mind. I've told you about these three women. And the reason why I must reflect upon these three women and I must reflect about the situation we are in today is because of the role they played for the clamor for independence and for the shape that our country has taken today. We were in a mess then, and they played a huge role in getting us out of the mess. Do you see where I'm going with this? I don't need to conclude, do I? But you might be asking me, but why is it the function of the ladies? Why should you be talking to the ladies about this? Well, first, I always say, why not? But let's be serious about it. Who got us in this mess? I haven't said it. So really, if we really want to compete outside Kenya, we need to have a favorable environment. And favorable environment means both NTBs in Kenya must be removed, and the tariffs and the taxes that prohibit trade from happening and competitiveness in our own market, so that we are able to export to other markets. Because what opening up a market means, I know you all want to think, yes, we are going to Ghana, but Ghana, ladies, is also coming to Kenya. And if it's cheaper to manufacture in Ghana, trust me, it will be much easier for them to export to Ghana than to Kenya. And by cheaper, I don't just mean cost of production. I mean all other attendant costs that may not necessarily be financial. As I conclude, let me reflect on a very practical example. Again, from a factory visit. We are thinking around building a value chain and what it will take to build a value chain. And you people in manufacturing, normally when I talk to non-trade people and tell them building a value chain, they don't understand. So I need not explain about building a value chain. And we've been looking at the automotive sector. And let me give you something very interesting. At least I found it very interesting. When you look at the automotive sector in Kenya in terms of legislation, I know there are a few challenges in terms of legislation, but let me be very microscopic for a minute and look at manufacture of helmets or e-mobility and the two-wheelers in Kenya. Today, if I'm going to take a two-wheeler in Kenya, a nduthi, a boda-boda, how often do you see nduthis or boda-bodas wearing helmets? I expected the room will give me the answer. How often do you see boda-bodas or nduthis wearing helmets? And might any of you know whether it's because of a lack of legislation, that there is no legislation requiring the use of helmets? It's not because of a lack of legislation. But go down to our neighbor here in Rwanda. In Rwanda, you find that both the rider and the passenger has the helmet. And in case you're wondering, what does this have to do with manufacturing? What does this have to do with trade? We discussed with a company that was interested in manufacturing helmets in East Africa. And they told us, Rwanda is an attractive market, not just because of the cost of manufacturing, but because of enforcement. No one is buying helmets in Kenya. And it's not because the legislation is not there. It's simply because the enforcement is not being done. Now, I know this was microscopic, but let's zoom out and think about all the individual sectors that we are all operating in and what this means for our sectors if we have beautiful laws but no enforcement. Will we then be export ready, and will we be able to export to the African market? Now, I know I've said I'm concluding many times, but now I'm really concluding. Let me just tell you this, because people will be angry with me if I don't talk a bit more about the AFCFTA. I was to give you statistics. The AFCFTA market is a huge market in terms of money, because I'm in a room full of women. I've been asked, full of manufacturers, not full of women. I've been asked to give you the statistics. And I've been asked to tell you that there's a 3.4 trillion GDP in Africa, with 1.4 billion people. So this is the market you're looking at. And that Kenya has been able to export 5 million worth of goods to Africa. We are now looking into services. We are looking at the service sectors that Kenya needs to consider going into. I know you've seen a few banks from South Africa have set up here. You've seen a few banks from Kenya have set up in DRC. We are looking at what other services, even in East Africa, can be exchanged. And I think it will be such a missed opportunity as a country if we are not able to take up the opportunity that's ahead of us, if we are not able to be competitive enough to export to the rest of Africa and tap into this market. If we are not competitive enough, if we don't have enforcement mechanisms and legislations that support the manufacturing industry, then we'll lose out. And that's why this is not just a manufacturing issue. This is an issue that I think all the ladies in this room should take up. We've seen this before, where women fight for independence, but the power is then distributed and they're sidelined, and women drive economic growth, but wealth is then generated and they are cut out. My reflections as I prepared for this evening, tonight, was to let you know that if we do not think about these women who shaped this country a few years ago, and if as women we do not tap into the opportunities and make sense of the economic disadvantages that prevail our country today, unfortunately, 50 years from now, we'll be gathered here again tonight, and we'll be talking about, Kenya used to be a giant. This African market. We should exclude Ghanaians from our market. We should exclude Rwandese from our market, simply because we forgot to take up the opportunities because we did not make enough noise. Ladies, I thank you for your time and for your kind attention. Yes.
Have you been briefed about it?
So I hope you didn't think it's all doom and gloom. I think now let me focus on the exciting part about tonight. And I think I've told you exciting things, haven't I? So tonight is about recognizing the women in manufacturing, and especially those who have already gone ahead in the AFCTA market, seen what it looks like, and have come to tell us their experiences. Allow me to first start with Melvin Marsh International. I expected applause. Kenya Tea Packers Limited. Sana Industries Limited. May I now invite the Women in Manufacturing Chair, Ms. Marianne Musangi, and all three companies, please.
All right, let's put our hands together for Melvin Marsh International, Kenya Tea Packers Limited, Sana Industries. If you're in the room, please make your way to the stage. Flora, you may go that way. Sana Industries, let's put our hands together for Sana Industries and our WIM chairperson, Marianne Musangi, as well. Let's put our hands together for Melvin Marsh International for recognition as WIM AFCTA Warrior 2025. All right, and the next recognition is for Kenya Tea Packers. Let's put our hands together for Kenya Tea Packers, also being recognized for the role they're playing in advancing the conversation on AFCFTA. And our final recognition to Sana Industries Limited. Let's put our hands together for Sana Industries Limited for leading the way in as far as AFCFTA is concerned. We celebrate you this evening. Let's put our hands together. Sana Industries Limited. All right, thank you so much, Marianne. Thank you, Michael, so that I don't call you Michelle again. Let's appreciate Michael for taking us through what GIZ is doing for us as manufacturers, and hopefully making that path a lot lighter to tread on. All right, I think we need a bit of music just before we get into the next space. But before we do that, do I have my hampers, Silas? Especially for the backbenchers who are making some noise. I'm heading your direction. So I hope you are paying attention to All right, so we've got the first question. Which hamper do I take? I'll take this one, which looks absolutely stunning. Have you noticed the backbenchers are not whispering anymore? But also, I'm not going to give you time to Google, so I'll move next to the person who will answer the question without looking. Right? Who's ready to answer? Who knows a little bit about AFCFTA? Who's paying attention? The backbenchers. Okay, I'm coming straight to you. Lady in pink. All right, please stand up. Please put your phone away. What year was the AFCFTA officially launched to boost intra-Africa trade? It's a great question, isn't it? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Let's appreciate her, but it's not going to her, so I hope you pay attention to the next. I'm still going upstage with my beautiful hamper, but it will come to one of you at some point. So I'd like to welcome our next speaker. Let's put our hands together for our chairperson of the Women in Manufacturing, Madame Marianne Musangi.
She's the constant wind that fills my sail. Oh.
Oi, 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 oi. You should see the beauty from up here. Ladies in the house, how are you this evening? Oh my goodness. Ladies in the house, how are you this evening? The backbenchers were making a lot more noise than you are right now. Welcome everybody. CEO Arise Collections, Miss Agnes Netunze. CAM CEO Tobias Alando. MD Exotic EPZ Jane Maigwa. KEBS, KRA, KEPROBA, GIZ, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. So I'm the official speaker here tonight to tell you about us, why you're here. How many of you really understand what WIM is about? Please put up your hands. If you're honest, you'll get a prize. How many of you know what WIM is about? Or should I reverse the question? How many of you do not know what WIM is about? So you know, you don't know. There's a lady there who put up her hand. You know what WIM is about, or you don't know? You don't know. That's an honest person. Somebody give her a goodie bag, please. For being honest. Ladies, we must be honest. So I assume the rest of you know what we're about, yeah? Huh? Kinda. Okay, I got a kinda over here. Right? Okay, tonight. Tonight we're going to award and recognize excellence. And that excellence is in this room. First of all, the excellence of how beautiful you all look. What's this year's International Women's Day theme about? Ah, you knew that one. Now how come the other ones I was not getting? I think, Tobias, we need to be more on social media, because they know the IWD, but they don't know, they're not talking too much about WIM. Well, I'm going to tell you about WIM, right? And what we're focusing on today, tonight, this year, is but trailblazers, redefining its future. Who feels they are a trailblazer here? No one. No one's a trailblazer. I'm a trailblazer, man. I hope my team, Hako, are you trailblazers? By force they are. You're all trailblazers, ladies. That's why you're in this room tonight. Globally, women make up nearly 40% of the workforce, yet they end up being underrepresented in industry, manufacturing, or leadership roles. I'm assuming all of you are in leadership roles. Yes? Yes, you are. Kenya is very much ahead of the game. I want you to know that, believe it, and continue carrying that torch forward. According to UN Women, while educational attainment has improved, gender gaps persist, particularly in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, which are critical to industrial innovation. Here in Kenya, the manufacturing sector, a key driver of our economic development, has seen a notable rise in women-led enterprises. And that is why I say you are all here in this room tonight, leading and holding the torch forward. But yet, a lot still needs to be changed. This is why tonight's awards are not just about honoring achievements, they're about shifting perceptions, redefining possibilities, and setting new standards for inclusion and empowerment in manufacturing. The Women in Manufacturing program started off in 2017 with a mission to create an enabling environment for women in the sector, address systemic barriers, and promote gender inclusivity in the industry. At times, I know Flora would be sitting in the boardroom and she would be the only woman in that boardroom. When she was about to step down, you know what she did? She gave me a call and she said, "Marianne, I want you to come and take my seat." I said, "Oh gosh, no, I can't. Why? I'm not big enough. I don't know how. I can't sit in that boardroom. It's too big for me." I made every single excuse that women make. She told me she'll give me 2 weeks to think about it. When she called me back, she says, "Okay, so I make the announcement now that you're stepping in my place." I said, "Oh, no, I don't think I can. I'm too busy. She heard none of it. And she proceeded to go in and make the announcement that I was taking her place. And that's what we need to be about. We need to hold each other's hands and lift each other up. She could have easily let her place go to a man, but she didn't. She purposefully made sure that a woman took her position. creating a strong, and that's for Flora. Flora, just stand up, please. She gave birth to this program. She did. So WIM is about creating a strong, supportive community where women across the manufacturing sector can network, can collaborate, and grow together. We're about providing targeted capacity building initiatives to equip women with the skills, knowledge, and industry insights necessary to excel. We're also about facilitating networking and mentorship opportunities, connecting women with industry leaders and decision makers to support career advancement and business growth. Just last year, we had a remarkable dinner. I don't know how many of you were able to attend, an exclusive gala dinner with the immediate former US Ambassador, Meg Whitman. She gave us some very important nuggets. She shared with us how she grew up the ladder in the US to head up one of the largest business corporates in America and moved on to get into government within America so as to build women. To truly empower women in manufacturing, we must take our efforts beyond Nairobi and major industrial hubs. Real impact comes when we engage and empower women at the grassroots level, in every county and across all manufacturing subsectors. This is why the WIM to Counties program has been one of the most impactful initiatives, where we go out to South Rift Nyanza, Western region, North Rift region, Central region, Lower Eastern, Coast, and Nairobi. These initiatives, supported by GIZ, have amplified women's voices, connected manufacturers to opportunities, and provided valuable knowledge and mentorship. We are looking into building up on the 2024 WIM to Counties program in 2025. Tonight, we recognize the incredible women who have demonstrated resilience, innovation, and leadership across various categories. There's the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year Award, WIM ESG Warrior Award, WIM Executive of the Year Award, WIM Lifetime Achiever Award, Woman Industrialist of the Year Award, Women AFCFTA Exporter of the Year Award. Each nominee tonight is a testament to the fact that women are not only participating in manufacturing, but are driving change, creating jobs, and building industries that contribute to Kenya's economic growth. From startups to established enterprises, from sustainability champions to seasoned executives, the women in this room represent the strength and potential of our sector. One thing we must not forget is the chairperson of CAM is a woman. Madam Jane Karuku, you know her, Group CEO of East African Breweries Limited, was unable, go on, one more, was unable to be with us here tonight because she's not feeling well, but she sent her regards. Now, when you see an organization, a BMO such as CAM, being led by a woman, you know change is here. Change is now. And we are working close together with Jane Karuku, the chair of CAM, to ensure that there will be a lot of focus on the WIM program. We are here to serve you. We need to hear your voice. Where do you need assistance? Is it in attaining additional financing? Is it in upskilling? Is it in logistics? Is it understanding more about the AFCFTA? You just tell us, and we are here for you. We are purely focused on women in manufacturing in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a lovely evening. We've got more, that was the serious speech I think I make, but we've got two amazing guests coming on, trailblazers in their own right. One from Kenya, who is exporting and doing an amazing job. And we said, you know what? We need to hear from the region, yeah? We need to know what's happening on the other side of the border. But a lady who has done it from Uganda, and she's exporting out to the US and to Europe. We want to hear her story so that she can motivate us. So when we leave this room today, we go out saying, we can do it too. Thank you, ladies, and the few gentlemen.
Let's appreciate Marianne one more time for inspiring us and just challenging us to think outside the box. And I can't wait to also listen to the story from when our chief guest finally comes to speak with us. So I still have a gift, and because we want to close the AFCFTA topic for now, who's ready to answer a question? So for this one, I'll give you a tip. You just need general knowledge of AFCFTA. Just general knowledge. One person. Have you seen that basket? How beautiful it is? General knowledge. Should I ask first? All right. So the first hand I will see up is the one I'll pick. Which African leader was the first Secretary General of the AFCFTA? Please. Yes. Yes. Wamkele Mene. And the gift goes to her. Please come forward and pick this beautiful hamper with very, very special treats. I hope you enjoyed. Let's give her a warm round of applause. We'll have some more questions as we go along. We've got some more beautiful hampers which we'd like to give you. All right, so for now, let's give a warm welcome to Jen Maigwa, MD Exotic EPZ, who will be giving us some remarks and sharing her story. Let's give her a warm round as she makes her way to the stage.
Now everybody go to breakfast. Have to say bye bye.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether I'm audible. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The leadership of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and actually I should have started with our special guest, the Principal Secretary. I don't know whether we have them in here. No. All protocols observed. Isn't it? Rather than soft. So when I see, the softness around the room, and then I know the power that is seated amongst us, being women in manufacturers, it gives me such joy to be speaking a few words of inspiration to all of us. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for this opportunity, really, and to really acknowledge these beautiful serena surroundings that we are in. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. That is what I was asked to share about. I am in manufacturing, in agribusiness. I am in exports, processing and exports of nuts and oils. Particularly, we have been exporting macadamia nuts to various countries, to the US, to Europe, and also to Asia. So it sounds nice and beautiful, but it's not been an easy journey. And I know for most of you, we might be sharing, a lot of similarities. Maybe I can already say that I run this business in partnership with 2 other beautiful ladies. They sent their apologies. They're not able to join us. One of them is out of the country, and one of them has a little baby that she has to nurse. So you can see the triple responsibilities that we have. A few years ago, 8 years, 9 years, I left the comfort of the UN, the United Nations, where I used to work. It's a dream of many young people, especially when you're developing a career, you want to end up in the UN and work there. I worked there for 6 years, working on women economic empowerment programs, youth entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship programs. That's my background, entrepreneurship development. I started my career working in the NGO sector and supporting businesses to start, to grow, to expand. And that was my joy for about 20 years. Before the UN, I had worked in the same space. But it got to a place where I felt I needed to run after my dream. Because when I was young, I would think I was set up for manufacturing, and I was set up for this kind of space that I'm going to speak to you about. I was born among men. I have 2 brothers. They're not many, they are 2. I used to follow them, to watch Safari Rally. We used to stay in Kiambu somewhere where the Safari Rally used to pass. So I could follow them, or wherever they were going, I would follow my brothers. And I could see trucks with, those trucks that have very many wheels. I really used to admire those trucks, quietly, as a young girl. I was like, one day, maybe I'll be a truck driver. That's when you're young, you think such weird things. Little did I know that I had that desire to get into something international. Because trucks takes goods maybe to Mombasa or from Mombasa and on their way to export markets. And so anyway, first track, I went into high school, into university. I found myself doing a course that I was the only woman, I was the only lady that was doing that course in Kenyatta University. A strange course. You'd wonder which course that is, right? Do you want to know? In my first degree, I did a weird course called Appropriate Technology. You're wondering, what's that? I did double maths and appropriate technology. And somehow I was the only lady in my year. It was the first time that course was offered in the year that I did it. And the second year, there were only men doing it. So I was the only one for quite a while until when I was in third year, in the first year, there was one more lady. So anyway, fast tracked that, and I got out and went on into work, and I found myself working with businesses. Fast tracked that again, and 2016, it was time to get out and start business. It wasn't easy to leave the comfort of a nice job that I had, but I needed to pursue my dreams. So Exotic EPZ is a company that is based in Nairobi, Samia Industrial Park. We are the only 100% solely women-owned company that is processing and exporting macadamia nuts in Kenya. And I tend to suspect in East Africa, I'm still trying to search whether anybody is doing macadamia nuts at processing and export level. So when I came into this space, there were lots of men, the big boys, I used to call them, the big boys. So I went into one of there was an association then that was not too active in the sector, and I decided I was going to attend the meeting. When I walked into the boardroom, it was all men, but I was not intimidated. I was a youngster in manufacturing. I went and took a seat, and when the chair and others were addressing the meeting, they would say, "Gentlemen," and I would say, "I'm here, I'm a lady, and I can answer the question." So it took time before they could say "ladies and gentlemen," because they were used to the men. I'll tell you a little story about how I got started. I didn't have the money. When you're working in employment, you hardly save enough to start a business that you would be dreaming about. And so I swept all my pension funds. I borrowed money from everybody. My partners borrowed from everybody. In fact, we used to be avoided by many people because you are always looking at which relative can give you money, who can give you 100,000, who can give you 200,000. And it wasn't easy. We went to the banks. We did. Table was a gentleman in a brand new shirt. You know, it looked new to me. It was white and sparkling and a red tie. And here was I with my partner. My partner was 29 years at that time, young woman. And we walked in looking so puzzled because we had done a lot of walking, you know, trying to make this thing work. So we walk in. Fourth largest tenant in Samia Industrial Park. In a space of about 7.5 years, and I humbly say so. It has taken a lot of work, a lot of resilience, a lot of commitment, a lot of tears. I used to hear blood, sweat, and tears until I really got them. I've cried in boardrooms. Women won't talk about this. I've shed tears when your proposal goes all the way to the credit committee, and it's the only thing you are relying on to get the funds to start or to run the business, and it's turned down last minute. Ours was turned down last minute. The very first financing we were to get started, apart from our savings, we went through a very, very long process. Lots of documents, KYC, you know the things we do when we are raising funds. A lot of pitching. And we got approvals. The business plan was good, the projections were good, but we had no performance, but we were very passionate to set up this business that would create very good profits, but also a lot of impact. So we got to a place, now we were to get the final word. We had even come with the buyers themselves to show that really we have the buyers, and they had written letters of intent and all that. Then this particular institution, last minute, they said, okay, you need to think of plan B, plan C. And that was jaw-dropping. It was very, very, very bad for us. But anyway, here we are, 7 years later, we are employing 162 people in our business. Thank you. 85% are women. 75% are youth. So we track these indicators. Why? Because in our mission, very central to our mission, apart from setting up a viable business that will grow, we are also very strategically purposeful to create impact. So in our mission, one of the things in the mission is that we are aiming at socioeconomic empowerment of men and women, and that we do through job creation and through incomes for our farmers. And not only that, we are tracking how many women are benefiting from the value chain, how they are moving up in the enterprise itself and along the value chain. We are interacting with 10,000 farmers. We have recruited 10,000 farmers who supply us, slightly over 10,000, in 13 counties. We started with one county. It started with me as the buyer of the macadamia nuts, and my business partner was the one who was running operations. So I used to wear my boots, some old boots, and carry my not clutch bag, of course not clutch bag. You know that hard canvas bag that you put across here, what do you call it? It's not a sling bag, but not the posh ones. It needed to be canvas because I was going to buy macadamia nuts in Meru. And in Meru, everybody carries a panga. Yeah, because they might go and find some grass or something to harvest. That's what they tell me. But to me, it was very, very scary. So I could drive my old car to Meru, and thank God for my husband, who was very, very supportive. Actually, he used to drive me there. But I was the buyer, so I could go through the bank and take about 1 million shillings, broken down in 200s, in 500s, in 50s, in 20s. That was a little bit back. There used to be even 20s. Because you have to do the purchases of the raw material and pay cash in our sector. That was super risky. We had to quickly think, how can we automate all these processes? So fast track that, we have a technology that helps us to register the farmers. The 10,000 farmers are in our database and counting. And we pay them through M-Pesa. So that was a first of its kind. We are very interested in decent work. The last job that I worked was in the International Labour Organization, in employment, where I was employed. Now I'm working, by the way. But where I was employed before, I was working with ILO that was promoting decent work. And so I got to understand and embrace what decent work is. And in a lot of manufacturing companies that I looked through, I see a lot of work that is not decent. So I made it my agenda, together with my partners, to try and ensure as much as is possible that the jobs we were creating were not just numbers, that we were just counting 162, but that those jobs were moving towards decent, in the sense of the word of the salaries. That's with what you're paying them, right? Then it's about how you take care of their safety, occupational safety and health, how you ensure that they're accessing medical, how you are ensuring that they have the right workspaces, so they're comfortable, that their ergonomics are taken care of. We have a lot of women that do a lot of sitting when they're sorting the nuts. When we started, they were sitting on stools, but in our knowledge, we needed to get them padded seats. So right now, they sit on padded seats, both at the seat and at the back. Very, very comfortable. Because they spend, think about it, they spend 8 hours in the office and much less hours, in the factory. So we felt that it was really important to ensure that their health and wellness was good. We've started a counseling program, which the men and the women that work for us are able to access for their mental health. And this started during COVID, when we saw a lot happen. COVID just kind of did a lot of things. We stayed together in the houses and we started conflicting, right? With our children, with our spouses. And so when they came back to work, you could see a lot of mental turmoil. And it didn't matter whether they were managers or they were on the shop floor. So we felt we needed to start a counseling program. And these are some of the things that we do to ensure that the work that our workers are doing is decent. It is rewarding. It's the right culture. It's not perfect because it's a process to get there. Recently, we launched a state-of-the-art lactation suits for our female workers who are in lactation stages. It's the first in the export processing zones where we are at. And at any one day, maximum, of course, usually we don't get those many numbers, but you can get all the way up to 30 women using the lactation suits, not at the same time because they're not sitting there the whole day, but rotationally. And for us, it doesn't annoy us when one of our workers gets pregnant. We have seen employers who are like, oh no, are you guilty? She's pregnant. We have another 5. And where you have 85% of the workforce being women, we always have about 5 minimum that will be in the maternity stages and lactation stages. Everybody here was born, right? So for me, it doesn't bother me. It just gives me a challenge that we must work very hard to ensure that our business has stability and is growing to be able to support these people. My neighbor at the Samia Industrial Park don't come to investigate, but they employ only men, 100% men. They are manufacturers like us. I've always asked myself, why do they not employ women? Why isn't it happening? You have the answer, right? I tend to think those are some of the issues. So we have a staff savings and credit organization that we supported the staff to start for themselves. And that has created another set of benefit for our staff. Because they save, they have now, it's quite new. At this point, they have saved almost 4 million Kenya shillings themselves, the staff. I'm a member of the SACCO myself. And I have seen the loans. Sometimes I ask, to be briefed, what's happening there. It's an independent SACCO, but it's within the organization. They're borrowing from that. They're saving and borrowing from the same, starting little new businesses to M-Pesa shops. Some of them are keeping to chicken. They're doing, some have motorbikes, boda. So that for me is empowering because some of those very low skilled jobs, like the unskilled jobs actually, we have quite a number of unskilled jobs. They may not be earning enough to take care of themselves. So we sat with my partners and we thought, what can we do? And those are some of the initiatives we started that do not need us to put any money except to be members and to support them to capacity build them. And they are able to support themselves to expand their income streams. So receiving the Pan-African Agripreneur Award of the AWIF, of the African Women in Entrepreneurship Forum in 2018. We started the business in 2017. We received that award as Exotic in 2018. That was super inspiring. So I want to commend KAM for the awards that they are awarding the women in manufacturing year on year. It does a lot of good. That actually inspired me very, very early in my first year of business to pursue this thing and to go over the hurdles. There have been a lot of hurdles. Talk about limited access to markets. This is one of the things that women in manufacturing face. And not just women in manufacturing, women in business. So markets, I discovered a lot of the deals are done in very interesting places. Like when playing golf, isn't it? Or when taking some hard drinks, some late night hours. I wasn't in that category. I'm a mother of 4, busy bringing up beautiful girls. So I couldn't get time, to go like at 6, 8 p.m. to cut deals. For me, it was about, we meet during the day on the table, we discuss, I do the pitching, and you give me the business, but it wasn't working. So women are limited in how they access markets because of those issues of where these deals are being made, financial investment deals. Nevertheless, we have overcome that. As Exotic EPZ, I can say we are sort of close to, I'll check the numbers again, but close to number 5 in terms of market share of exports of macadamia nuts in Kenya, which is quite significant. but not without constant hurdles. You've read in the news of late, this sector, it's called the sector of cartels. That's what they call it. And I am trying to play a role, in fact, I am playing a role in creating change. So we formed an association, a brand new association last year. It's called MacNat Association of Kenya. It brings together all processors. Not all. There are some that are still coming in slowly, but we still have, we do have quite a number of processors of macadamia nuts. And we have formed it as a platform to bring sustainability in our sector. And sustainability in all angles, not just the businesses, but to ensure the entire value chain is carried along, that the farmers are benefiting, that there are decent jobs being created. So I am starting to see a lot of impact of starting this association in terms of advocacy. We're doing a lot of advocacy to ensure that businesses are, the laws that support manufacturing and processing are maintained, and so the jobs are therefore maintained, but also ensuring that we are going out all the way to the farmers and having initiatives that support the farmers in terms of building their capacity to produce more, to produce better quality, and that means more income to them, and direct purchases from the farmers, which means more premium prices to them. So women suffer from not wanting to sit at the table of leadership, and this is not a blanket statement, because here we have leaders in this room. But we have a lot of other women out there that are not leading. So it is incumbent upon us that are trailblazers. I want to use the word of our CEO. CEO, right? Chair. Yeah, I'm sorry. That we are trailblazers with no apology. With no apology. You know, a lot of times women tend to be very apologetic, and you want to shrink and not say you are a trailblazer. So we are trailblazers, and we have a challenge to hold the hands of other women and bring them to the fore. In my business, we've started a leadership program, leadership for women particularly, and youth. We have a passion for young people as well. So we have a lot of people that we take in as interns. In fact, many of our managers came in as interns, believe it or not. We employed some qualified people at the beginning, but the ones we have now, I can tell you, are doing a better job. Through mentorship, quite a number of them, through mentorship and empowering and equipping them with the right tools, they can be very productive. So let's support the women around us in the businesses, and let's see how we can also do business with each other. Today, what I'm wearing is manufactured by one of the women in Kenya. You know her. She's a trailblazer. She's exporting. I admire her. She's a mentor to me. Quietly, she does. And she has opened stores in the US. That is where I'm going. We are going to open stores in the US. Watch this space. Right now, we export through the importers who are importing from us. Directly, we import to them. But we can also set up the shop there. Can't we? We are discovering. It's not something we have done, but we are trying to discover how can we do this. I can already see ourselves selling into Walmart. We're already having conversations with Walmart. We have developed a brand right now, and watch this space. We are getting into Walmart. We are selling into Costco already, but not branded. It goes through a long route. So I'm now looking for a route to get more value-added product into those stores. It's about ambition. It's about ambition. It's not about knowing what to do. I don't know what to do, but I discover based on the ambition I have. I look for how to get there, and I must get there somehow. So let's embrace innovation. That's my other point. How do we overcome the barriers that we face? We have to embrace innovation. We have to be resilient. That's our middle name, ladies, in manufacturing, resilience. So let's go for it. We play a big role in promoting competitiveness in our country, in Africa, and beyond. And this is our space to be role models and to support one another. So great women came from where? They came from, I want to get that quote right. It's right here. I got it from, and I liked it. Great women are created. A great woman is created by great women. It's a very simple quote. A great woman is created by great women, right from birth. Do you see that? And through supporting one another. So let's do it together with our allies in the room. We congratulate our allies. They are seated all over here, dotting this place, and many others that are not here. The men that support the women. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you, ladies.
Let's appreciate Jane one more time. What an incredible story. Thank you so much for your passion, for inspiring us to go further. Thank you so much, Jane. All right, so it's time now to invite our chief guest who has come all the way from Uganda. Let's give her a warm round of applause. As she comes up, Agnes Nentuze is the CEO of Arise Collections Uganda. She's a board member at OWIT Uganda, founder and CEO. Let me just give you your flowers first. Founder and CEO, Cocoa Agri Farms Limited. She is in the business of honey, and she'll tell us a little bit more about it. But the reason I wanted her to stand there a little is because there's something amazing that she's also come for. She is in a documentary called Africa Women Rising in Their Words, which is first showing tomorrow here in Nairobi, and later is heading to New York at the Women in Film Festivals, and then it will go to Athens, Paris, Lagos, Joburg, Vancouver, DC, and in Kampala. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she comes to speak with us.
The gift of life astounds me to this day. I give it up for the woman.
Please stand up.
She's the constant wind that fills my sail. Oh, that woman. With a smile and a star, she'll protect you like a child. That's a woman. She'll put a smile upon her face and take you to the higher place. So don't you underestimate strength of a woman.
Thank you so much. I hope you know your strength, right? Yes. Now imagine this room is full of that strength, you know? Thank you so much for having me. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, I struggle a lot with the protocol observed list. It's a government thing, I'm going to be honest. Miss Mary Ann, our WIM chair, Tobias, our Yes. And tell her all will be well. It doesn't matter how the day started, all will be well. Yes, it's an incredible honor and privilege to be among you today, and especially in Kenya. Kenya is like a second home to me for so many years. When I'm back home, I'm always asked, are you Kenyan? So when I received the invitation to be here, I was like,
Maybe home is calling. I need to ask my mother or my father for a DNA. I don't know how they test for countries, but I think that is something I have to do someday. Because here is the thing. When I'm working in Uganda, I get it so many times. I've just cut off my sister locks, but everybody would say, "Are you Kenyan? Are you Kenyan?" Truthfully, it's a question I get asked all the time. But it began in 2011 when I had come to do my very first shopping as a young girl. I'm looking for raw materials, and someone gave me a clue. Go to Nairobi. So I'm in Nairobi walking with a few Kenyan women, and as a Ugandan, do you know what I was doing? I was walking like this. And all the men kept saying in Swahili, "Give us that one, give us that one." So I asked my Kenyan friends, why are they asking me? Why are they asking for me? And they said, because you walk slow. Now, even with a pregnancy and heels, I walk fast. So Kenyan women, please, you gave me a gene unknowingly. With the highest gratitude, allow me appreciate CAM for creating tonight. Please clap for them. It takes an organization that is very, very intentional to growing women and recognizing their efforts in such spaces to be able to put up a function like this. And for our women that we are celebrating tonight, me being inclusive, it takes us showing up and being willing to come to the table. Sometimes it's scary. To be honest, it's scary. When Aldin sent that email, I was like, really? What are they thinking? They have 1 million women they can choose from. And that's always us women. We doubt, we self-guess whether we belong. But for the women that have chosen to be here tonight, you deserve it, and for that we clap for you. I also want to thank the partners. It's always easy to go alone, but it's very hard. You need people who believe in you. The men here tonight, the GIZ that put in the money, the banks, we appreciate you and we thank you for being behind CAM and for recognizing the women that are here tonight. CAM has more than 1,300 members, with a few women-owned. I urge every woman that if you're not part of this association, please join. And as a woman, bring one with you. If I asked you tonight to look into your phone book, how many women who are your friends deserve to be here? How many? How many? How many did you bring? MC, can I give a hamper? Not tonight. But I was going to give a hamper to someone who brought many women with her tonight. Chair, can we do it? Yes. Okay, but how will we verify? If you know you brought more women tonight, let those women vote you and give the name to the chair or the MC, and you'll get the hamper. It's serious. As women, we need to bring others with us. And as CAM is talking about this space not being enough for us, we need to fill it up by bringing those members in our phone books to events like this, but also to groups and associations like CAM. You know, long ago, associations like this used to belong to men, the Old Boys Club. They meet, they talk about business, and they close it out. And where were we? In the kitchen cooking, and that is still okay. But can we bring others together with us? Manufacturing for long has been dominated by men. So it's very important that tonight, and not only today, but for the future, we get to talk about women in manufacturing. This year's theme is accelerating action. The book of life I love to read, which is the Bible, says in James 2:14, faith without action is what? So we can take years and years discussing how we are so endangered, how we don't have the spaces, how this and this is happening. But that action, who's going to do it? Who's going to do the action? And who's going to do the talking? You know the gender that does the talking. So ours is to act, and the other gender is to make the policies, you know? So as we celebrate accelerating action for women in manufacturing for progress, I want us to acknowledge that we need to take action. And we will succeed when women are enabled to participate fully in all aspects, both economic, social, and political spheres. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Agnes Netunze. I'm a mother of 7, 4 beautiful girls and 3 sons. I'm a wife to a lovely husband, Engineer Lozias. He sent you greetings. And for that, I thank him because I'm able to be here tonight because I have a supportive partner. So for the men that support us as we trade this journey, we really support you. And for the men in the room, we really thank you so much. I'm also a lover of my Jesus Christ, who enables me to do all things at any time. Imagine you talk about Jesus and the DJ gives you that job. I'm a manufacturer and a farmer. And tonight I want to share my journey, my manufacturing journey that has been shaped by countless challenges, but also very many triumphs, lessons, and unwavering belief that change is possible when we push through barriers, but also when we act and act together. My journey started as a young girl. I grew up in a village in Kampala where education for girls was a myth. Our parents dictated whether a girl would go to school or not. Society dictated that girls shouldn't go to school. I hope it was the same way in Kenya. So I persevered through that with a supportive father. But he had a condition. I had to be a doctor. So throughout my school, he would come to school and write on my books, Dr. Agnes. And from primary, secondary, I also took on the doctor name. And it was one way to keep in school because he wanted me to be a doctor. So when the village men would say, she's grown up, we give you cows, he would reply and say, she's going to be a doctor. And that was engraved to me. But in senior 5, which is like high school, I kind of said no. And that was the first drift I had in my relationship with my dad, because sciences weren't for me. I was doing them and pursuing them, but I didn't see myself treating people. I just didn't know what I wanted to be. I went through school, and from high school to university, we fill in some university forms where you determine what you're going to do at university. And I remember, since I was clueless, my principal came and filled in the form and said, you do this course. It was a new course in Uganda, procurement and logistics. And I said, why? You were the best in school, you have the highest marks, but you'll work for UN, Coca-Cola, MTN. He gave me 3 jobs. I tell you, as an 18-year-old, I did the course seeing myself in one of the 3 offices. I would go to university, but sometimes I would sit and say, will I choose Coca-Cola? Will I choose UN? And that didn't happen. When I graduated, it took me forever even to find a small company to take up my procurement skills. And that's when it dawned on me that even with education, I still had to make a way. And that's how it feels even when we start our companies, our careers. We get beautiful speeches, they give us beautiful pitches. GIZ comes in and says, entrepreneurship readiness. And then you go back home, you even tell your husband, it's either my business or I'm out. And with your documents, you go to the market, and everyone is looking at you. Where are you from? And that's how I was. Fast forward, I find an American friend, American stranger who was in Uganda trying to find out what to do. And through connections, we started a very tiny sandal company. We were making probably 3 pairs a day with only 2 women. And my goal, and this is where what you say to your young girls or your young boys matters. Even with finding something to do, I still longed to go to UN, Coca-Cola, and MTN. The same companies that had just me, I was still longing to go and work there. Because when I was starting my bachelor's, I was told, I belong. What have you been told that you belong to? We've been told we belong to the kitchen, to the labor wards. We are only good enough for this. It's high time we rewrite our own stories. This company was able to grow. Thank you. This company was able to grow so enormous when we believed in ourselves. When as a young girl, I stopped looking at Coca-Cola and MTN and UN and decided that this was me now, and I had to create a path for others. It became very exciting because I would see the other women without education come in and earn a job. And to me, that became my driving force. The company grew so much that we moved away from the single garage to owning our own factory, from having only 3 women to having 80 women, from being just a small crappy sandal to earning Company of the Year in the United States. But all that wasn't easy. I remember days and nights. How many of us know Modern Coast Bus? That was my ride. I would take it from Uganda, Transnight, land in the bus terminal, find a toilet, brush teeth, and do other things, change, and then start looking for raw materials. So sometimes women will look at people, give speeches, and due to the limited time, we never share all those nasty things. And it might look rosy, but you have to go through fire. We don't like to say it. I remember the times I would just take Okadas. Imagine Nairobi, I don't even speak Swahili. This guy knows I'm going to, I don't even know the geography of this place, but the next building. Do you know how he would ride me? And charge me 2K. But then when you're done shopping, you look across, you're like, I was standing right there. So working in Nairobi kind of shaped me. I loved working with companies. Umoja, it has been our biggest supplier. Alfa Roma, Henko, Plastics and Rubber, Freeman, Sotex, CNP, all those supplied us. And as she elaborated, 12% of your imports are sent to Uganda. So I really bring you greetings, because in Uganda, when you talk about Kenya, we know you have our back. So both in a friendship, and these days there's a rumor that your men are running that side, but I won't get into that. I hear it, I've not seen it, but I'm hearing it, so maybe it's the AFCTA they're talking about. So, in hospitality, of course. As a young girl growing up, I never imagined standing here today as a woman in manufacturing. My path wasn't predetermined, nor has it been easy. It has been a journey of paving a way by others that have decided to go before us and those that have decided to hold our hand. My company being one of the leading manufacturers, actually the leading manufacturer of leather goods in Uganda, we've enjoyed good things. We had American brands like the DMC, Macy's. We were featured in Vogue, People magazine, the Oprah show, and so on. The manufacturing industry isn't that welcoming to a woman. And as I entered the leather goods manufacturing world, I encountered so many doubts. This is one of my funniest to date. I sent the picture, but I don't know if he has it. No, the one with the president. When I was just 21, the president heard about me and he summoned me. It was a Thursday, hot afternoon, and as a small business, we had cooked what we call in Uganda katogo. That is cassava with beans. It is a poor man's meal. But it's what we could afford as a business. And this car drives to our workshop, says the president wants to see you. And I said, who? I looked behind to see whom they were talking to, but the guy was talking to me. So fast forward, no preparation. We were in Nakasero. That was 2014. And when I held him the products we were doing, he said, oh, my sweet 16, you import these from Kenya or China, rebrand them, and export back to the US. Sorry, export into the US. You're going to walk into spaces where you're going to be doubted. Does it stop you? At that moment when I left the State House, I told myself, I have to go and show the president that it's doable here. 1 year, I invited him and he made it to our workshop. And he was able to see that women were actually producing the items from scratch to finish. So we have to fight for our space, and it is okay. You're not the first, and we're not going to be the last. We have to rise up and fight for our space. Another incident, I imported in our first clicker press that cuts all the leather pieces. I went to the bonds to clear the machine, and they expected a man to come and pick this huge, expensive machine from China. And I showed up. And to be honest, it's pregnancy that got me this weight. I'm not blaming, but it's pregnancy. But I used to be very tiny. So I walk into the bonds, huge place, and they're expecting my big boss to come after me. And I said, I'm here to pick my machine. And they said, which machine? And I said, the one that reached. I had the documents. And for 2 minutes, they didn't pay attention. They're expecting someone else to come and pick the big machine. Fast forward, with the documentation, probably they said, maybe the owner entrusted her with the machine. They let me clear it. And I told them, because I had read on the documents that the machine is 1,800 tons, that it would not fit on the carrier that they were giving me. And they said, no, she can't tell us what to do. She's a woman. They loaded the machine on the car, and the car only moved. Do cars move 2 steps? The car moved 4 tires. If I can borrow that word. And the machine cracked the whole truck down. But why didn't they listen? A small young woman was telling them what to do. These are spaces we are working in. And for women in manufacturing here tonight, please know that it is okay. It's not okay, but it is okay. And what are you supposed to do is to stand up and say no. I look back and I tell myself that that day I had to tell them to either not to load my machine and I bring a bigger truck. But because we put ourselves down, we do not stand up to the no's, we do not stand up to you can't, society is still pushing that to us. There is a saying that says, what others do to you, I'm just paraphrasing, doesn't matter, but how you respond is what matters. How are we responding to the environments, to the words, to the actions that are not pushing us into the manufacturing space? It is us to own it. Because when they're saying you can't, and you also say I can't, is it their fault? It's my fault. Because when they said I can't, I also said I can't. So we need to really stand up And despite these challenges, we need to come to a journey and say that we are possible and we can do everything. One of the things I was asked to share tonight was how we've made it through. It has been through collaborations. And for the men in the house, please block your ears for this, because it's only for us women. Women, we like competing against one another. It's high time we chose collaboration over competition. It's so amazing how much we can do together in the space of realizing where your strength is and where your weakness is. We once partnered with a brand in the US. As a small business, they were doing cosmetics. And when they first reached out to collaborate with us, we were like, we are too small. What can they do for us? What will we do for them? The female owner of the cosmetic business in the US was very generous. And she forgave our stupidity, I like to say, because she did not take our no. She encouraged us. And how did she do it? She was producing a known brand in the US, and all we had to do was make small cosmetic bags. And our bags carried the big cosmetic brand. And that's how we penetrated. There is something you can do. There is someone you can leverage on. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Find that woman that is doing something, that is taking you where you want to go. Intern for them. Ask them what you can do so that you can leverage on what they have done. I like what she did tonight. She wore the dress of the owner who already has a store in the US because she wants to have a store in the US. Isn't that leveraging? And we need to do more of that. Financing was hard, but one of the things that got us going is documentation. If you're here tonight and you own a business and it's not registered in Uganda we use URSB. In Kenya you have a registration bureau. Please run tomorrow. I've met so many women that have 15 years of experience. They are never registered. One of the things that our counterparts beat us at, they don't fear registration. We never want to register our businesses. In Jan, Stanbic Bank ran a grant with USAID for $40,000, a grant for women. I remember reaching out to different women that I knew that could benefit from it. And it was very sad that you would give them the checklist and they could not comply. No registration, no TIN number registration, no compliance, and then we stand and complain. It's not easy, but please comply with documentation. No bank wants to give you a loan or money by your dress code. You want them to describe the woman who's like this, who has this, whose hairstyle is like this from year to year. Please, let's document our businesses. Let's register them. The other thing that got us going was choosing to know whom we wanted to serve. From inception, we knew that we wanted to be an exporting company. And we rallied all our energies towards that. As a woman in manufacturing, which market do you want to penetrate? Is it Uganda? It's okay. Run to Uganda and find people there. Is it Ghana? Is it the US? Is it UK? Find out the market you want to be in and get all the information that you need to export there. Ladies and gentlemen, with this year's theme of accelerating action, we gather here tonight to catalyze that momentum and jointly commit to help women in manufacturing for progress. Although manufacturing has been dominated by men, it's high time we rise up and support and stop the outdated norms of always complaining that we can't be. We are in the 21st century. We need to act, and the time is now. Sometimes we look down on our own continent and say, oh, it's Africa. If I was in the US. But I'm here tonight to inform you that Africa as a continent is beaming with opportunities of growth and innovation. Our continent has a magnitude of wealth, and we are the fastest growing population in the whole world. But despite all this, industrialization is still lacking, and we still remain underdeveloped. And that underdevelopment is affecting us so much. It's indeed affecting us so much. Africa remains under 12% of the share of the global manufacturing platform. Imagine we are the bed of resources and we only remain at 12%. Where are our resources going? Me and you need to act tonight. According to ILO, women make up 39% of global workforce. And in manufacturing, we are only 25%. We are still in the informal sector of only picking tea, of only doing the small jobs. We need to rise up. The sub-Saharan Africa, where my country and Kenya belong, only 26% of women are involved in entrepreneurship activities. And that is a good statistic. I said it lowly because I wanted to see few people know. 26% of female entrepreneurs come from this continent. It's the largest number. Google it. It's the largest number. But we also die young in our businesses. Mastercard did a survey, and African women were top when it came to entrepreneurship. But where are those businesses? So as the theme this year pushes us to accelerate action, it's causing us that the numbers are speaking something, but the results are also speaking something. So if we are so entrepreneurial and every day we rise up to create something, why are our businesses not growing? And we need to answer that. For some of us that are in the room and think we are speaking parables or reading things from history, allow me to share these incredible women that have gone before us. We have Dr. Agnes Kalibata from Rwanda. She's key in the agricultural innovation. We have Charlotte Mangai, the one who developed copper solar. Am I speaking to something you know? You didn't clap for our fellow Kenyan woman. We have Dr. Teresa Mbogua. She's also a very good innovator in the medical field. From my own country, Uganda, we have Dr. Julian Omara, who invented the first juice. I remember drinking her juice when I was young. And it's very key to see that we have those women go and lead well. We need to follow. What are we supposed to do as we accelerate these actions? The road ahead looks so blurry and scary. But tonight, allow me add my 2 cents to the voices that are calling out and saying that we need to go. First and foremost, I would like to share, and I won't talk so much about this because the speakers before me kind of alluded into them. Mentorship. The Bible says, a fool and his money are soon departed. Where does foolishness come from? Not knowing what to do. So if you start a business and you don't have a woman or man holding your hand, you're just playing a small hobby. So we need to mentor. Throughout my journey, I've been sitting down on the tables of women that have gone before me. And even those that are coming after us, there is always something to learn from someone. It doesn't matter how high or low or mid or someone is, you always pick something from them. I currently mentor about 30 women in Tanzania, and it's not about how smart you are, it's about what you know. Experience is key. So women in the room and women in manufacturing, please choose a woman to hold a hand. At the same time, choose a woman or a man to hold your hand. Another saying I love says, if you stop learning, you start dying. And you might never know your death, but it comes in so many ways. So we need to keep learning. Networking. We feel networking is for the men. They're the ones to be in associations. If you go to associations, they're always filled up with men. But women, these are spaces that we also are called to be in. Associations like CAM. If you run a manufacturing business and you're not registered in the Women in Manufacturing program, I don't know what you're doing. It's like a sportsman who trains and they never register for any program, any competing program. You train so hard, but you never register. Why don't you just quit? So networking is very key. Associations like Business Network International, BNI, is it something you have in Kenya? Yes, I'm one in Uganda, and it's very, very awesome. Very, very awesome. OWIT, Organization of Women in International Trade. You want to trade internationally, you don't belong to an international organization. I don't know how women will like mixing things. Maybe it's part of our DNA where we say, I want true love, but you go to the love niggers. I don't know. We want different things, we do different things. Maybe we need God to intervene. Technology integration. So many times we stand in two spaces and we say, those IT things are not for me. But let me tell you, when COVID hit, we were mainly an exporting company through containers and stocking in our store in Kansas. And all routes were closed. To date, we are an e-commerce platform. You order from the comfort of your home, of your toilet, of your porch, in UK, in Amsterdam, in New York. We receive your order. We have a partnership with DHL. Your bag, your product gets to you in 4 days. So we need to understand that we are moving at a fast pace when it comes to technology, and as women, we need to embrace it. I tell my women at the factory, for those who, anyone with a smartphone in the house? The back benchers don't have smartphones. But if you have a smartphone and you're a woman in business, please calculate how much time you spend on that phone. Some phones are too smart that they give you phone, they call it what? Screen time. Yes, that is the word. And it's so funny that women, your screen time is screaming 80% TikTok. Not because you posted a product, but because you saw Anita quarreling with Joy and you're commenting. And you know what is sad? On borrowed data. Let's use technology in a good way. The same amount of time you dedicate to your distractions, if you could dedicate it to your ambitions, we would be far as women. We like to watch who did a bad hair, who went to an event with a torn shoe. And what do we use that information for? To report the rumor mongering. If you see that she wore a bad shoe, reach out to her and say, do you know what? I can make a good one at a 5K ES, 5,000. Can you buy it? And she can buy it. If you see a certain chairperson and you're like, oh, her hair didn't match the event, reach out to her and tell her, I can do good hair next time at only 3,000. Can we learn to use internet in ways that serve us? It's a huge distraction, but only because we are letting it happen. Mr. Cameraman, please. I'm not part of myself, what else could I do? And I realized that I had a strength in moving things around the globe. You can wake me any time of the day, and I'll get those containers anywhere you want them. So I started agribusiness, and I'm exporting cocoa to Switzerland, US, and anywhere. We need diversification on the revenue streams. Is it products? Is it a service? Women, ask yourself, what can I get paid for? If you're good at talking, don't talk to friends spreading wrong words. Go and MC. You only use your talking to spread rumor mongering. No, you got it on an event, and people will be happy. If you're good at making others feel calm, that's counseling. Offer it as a service. Do you know what Africans will like to do? People will say, please run to Anita. She knows how to talk to married people. Tell them, yes, first time free, second time 5,000 KES. Please diversify. All of us here have a niche, and that uniqueness is within you. Find out what you can do and get paid for. Write it down. Write it down. Is it talking? Is it making people smile? On birthdays, be the comedian of the family. When they're having Christmas and they're thinking of hiring Annie Kansime and this other small boy of the Kenyan, say, no, give me half of their pay, I'll do the comedy show. There is something you can diversify in. Businesses are starting out. Offer that consultancy services. COVID showed us that if we stick to one thing, we will never elope. Diversification also in markets. For how long are you only selling in Nakuru? Maybe go to Kisumu. It's not always about going to the other places. Let's first find out within Kenya, how big are you? It's a mistake we did as a business, and unfortunately, we learned from it. 10 years in, we never sold in Uganda, and we paid dearly. Right now, we are growing our roots to take up the Ugandan market. So where you are, Kenya is so big. Are you in Nakuru, but you can go to Eldoret? Please diversify on that. We also need to look into sustainability. This is the future proof that your business can stay no matter what happens. If your business doesn't stay, can you? Can you stay? So sustainability, we are used to it in ways of raw materials, but it also comes in knowledge. How much do you know when it comes to growing your business? So can your business be sustainable? And also standards and values. There is a favorite quote I like from the former, many years, President John Kennedy. He said, conformity is the jailer of freedom and the enemy of growth. If you conform to just one thing, you are in prison. But also, you won't grow. So what are your values and standards? We are talking about women in manufacturing, and that means mothers. You don't have to be a biological mother. As mothers, we set the pace. We need to raise the bar high for the standards and values in society. When we give the standard of you have to sleep with me to get this, we set that standard. So as women in manufacturing, let us set the standard of how we want to be treated. It's going to take you and me to set those standards. Standards are high. and values are hard to keep up with, but we need to come to terms with it. If you set your standard low, you'll be treated low. If you set your standard high, you'll be treated highly. As I close off tonight, I hope I have one close and I don't follow in the footsteps of, I don't want to say Michelle. The future of manufacturing is brighter than ever, and women, we are at the front of it. We need to never underestimate the power of perseverance. It's hard. You can ask 1 million women that have gone before us. They will tell you it's hard. But perseverance is key. To the women that have paved the way, the top is lonely. Very, very lonely. Ask any successful woman who went alone. Do you know why it's lonely? In 2020, I think, at the start, before COVID hit, URA, our KLA, came, did assessments and penalized my business, 1.6 billion, UGX. And as I cried, I went through my phone and was looking for a female friend that I can tell the ordeal. This is real. In my cell, my church cell, the small women that I meet with, one of them told me, "Oh, sister, what sin did you do? God is punishing you severely." And at first I believed it. I started auditing my life where I had sinned. But do you know why she said that? She has never run a business. And she has never understood that KRA and URA can penalize you, but it is in your mandate to verify that it's not true. And for her, it was the other side. Heaven had struck me. So what am I trying to say? That the top is lonely and quickly vanishes. We need to carry women alongside us. Imagine if I pulled out my phone and called my sister and told her, "Do you know what? This is happening." She would say, "Last week, KRA was here. I just did it, and they off." So let's carry people with us that are going to sit with us at the top, whether it's raining or sunshine. Let's never climb that ladder alone. Let's hold another woman's hand. And to every woman who is here tonight, I want you to leave this room knowing that you are capable of achieving extraordinary things. Let me tell you, there is no book. We have so many books that talk about the do's of manufacturing, the don'ts of this, but there's no book that describes a woman in manufacturing. If the author is here, we give you a hamper. The author of the book, there is no book. So it's you. It's you who is called to step into that space. It's you who is going to do it. And you can do it. The road ahead may not always be easy, but it's yours to shape. When I was growing up and getting married, the first thing my mother told me when I got pregnant, it's a proverb in Uganda. They say, when you're giving birth, it's like pulling that hair thing out of your nose. You do it yourself. So even women in manufacturing, it's us. The onus is upon us to shape the roads we want to walk on. The onus is upon us to set the bars. The onus is upon us to be present at any given time. How many programs does CAM run? And they call upon women to come and get training, to come and get equipped, and we don't show up. We don't show up. We look at the flyer and they say investment readiness. Oh, I did it in 2014. You know, I just attended one the other day. Or when we attend, we are too absent to even consume the information. The road is to be shaped by us. We have to know that we are the leaders of tomorrow. And because we are here to lead, we need to keep pushing, keep believing, and keep building. No one's going to do it except us. And lastly, together, we can do more. No one can do it alone. No one can do it alone. Together, we can build a more inclusive, innovative, and prosperous future. We need to create a world where one woman or where women no longer have to fight for a seat at the table, but where women are leading. And who's going to create that? It's you and me. So let's rise up as women to create the spaces where we want our daughters, our friends' daughters, and everyone else to come and be a part of us. Asante sana.
What a beautiful song. Let's appreciate our keynote speaker one more time. That was absolutely incredible. We celebrate you. And I would like to welcome. We've got a special gift for you. And I would like to welcome Flora Mutahi from Melvin Mash to share this lovely gift with you. Let's appreciate Flora as she makes her way to the stage.
Wonderful speech, wasn't it? A wonderful conversation. Thank you very much. I can see why they made you the chief guest. Those were lovely words, and I think words we always need to keep encouraging us women. So, asante sana. This is a small package from Melvin's, actually. Yes, so that's a little bit of what we do. Now that I have the mic, a quick one. I think one of the things, I've been reading this book recently, and I just thought I would share it with you. It says, the mountain could be you. Or make sure the mountain is not you. It's done a lady called Brianna West, and I think you were speaking about that. There are a lot of things we can clear, the barriers, the what, but is the mountain you? And I think that's one thing you really summarized very, very well.
Thank you so much, Flora. Thank you so much, Agnes, for making time to speak with us, and we wish you all the very best at your event tomorrow. All right, ladies, we're now coming to what we have been waiting for all evening, the awards ceremony. And before we get in, I would like to welcome Ms. Joyce Njogu, Head of Consulting and Sustainability at Kenya Association of Manufacturers, who will tell us a little bit more about the judging process. Let's give a warm round of applause to Joyce.
Good evening. I won't take much of your time. It's time to celebrate progress with the theme of accelerating action. And I'm glad to be here as part of the team that was looking at areas of progress that we should celebrate tonight. And these are the judges for the WIM Excellence Awards. And I'd like to recognize that team, starting with Susan. Susan, please stand and wave. Let's clap for Susan. Thank you. I'd like to recognize Grace also, who was part of that team. Grace, thank you. Also, Rosalind, please stand and wave. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate her. And Paris, is Paris in the room? I haven't seen Paris. Where is she? Paris and Adeline, who was offering Secretariat Services. And we are excited to say that CAM has not done this award for the first time. The first time it was done in 2021 under the leadership of Flora. And then last year when Marianne took over, she said, let's keep celebrating women with so much passion that she just wants to see women being motivated and enjoying being part of manufacturing network. And as a result, we launched the second WIM Excellence Awards. And from December 4th, 2024, we did a call for nominations. I hope you all saw it. Did you see call for nominations? How many saw? By a show of hands. There are such few hands, but I must say at least we got 147 nominations as a result of the celebration. And out of those nominations, we had to look for a way of assessing the criteria. And the first criteria was WIM Startup or Innovator of the Year Award. And we are glad to know that there was such a big team that was nominating people. And here we're looking at 0 to 5 years. People who've been in business 0 to 5 years, but not for the sake of it. I heard about our chief guest saying women are starting business and they're also the ones closing, most of them, or they're just doing it for the sake of it. But these women, we are recognizing those that have an innovation that has given them a serious competitive edge in the way they are solving customer solutions, giving customer solutions or growing in terms of rate of growth, whether it's number of customers, whether it's profitability, and generally how they are contributing to the manufacturing sector. Maybe they've game changed the technology. And we'll see that later, it will be announced. WIM ESG Warrior Award. We've just been told about sustainability. We want to see people who are doing great impact in terms of environmental stewardship and how then they're driving impact and even community development and the work that they're doing for social change. The other group is Women Executive of the Year Award. This is looking at leadership in the enterprise, how they're mentoring people across board and changing numbers, metrics within the sector and just demonstrating influence and thought leadership. Also, WIM Lifetime Achiever Award as our last award. And this one is for a woman who's been in leadership for over 15 years, demonstrated remarkable change and influence in manufacturing sector, not only serving in their own enterprise, but serving in associations. We've been told to join networking, but not just being there, but leading in those platforms, influencing change, influencing policy towards progress. And we hope all these awards are going to inspire you to participate better next year. This year we've piloted with creating benchmarks around what we want to recognize and celebrate as part of growth and progress for women. So as we look at these women, let's start thinking about ourselves. What can we do differently? And we welcome you to also participate in the next one so that we can have continuous learning, continuous mentorship, and continuous celebration of progress for women. And this is part of accelerating action. Do we agree that we are in line with the theme? So the awards tonight is part of driving this theme that has already been set out. But we are grateful to come because this is something we want to drive, we want to progress. Without much ado, I want to call Ronald, who was part of the team, sorry I hadn't mentioned them, our auditor, to just give a brief assurance. Are they here? Just one statement of assurance so that you can be happy this process was credible, above board, transparent. Thank you. Ronald, very briefly, just 1 minute. A big hand clap for me and Ronald and the judges. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies. You look amazingly beautiful from up here. So I work from a firm called Ronald's LLP, and we've been, it was a pleasure being with you through this process of verifying the process of the voting and the nomination. But just a brief overview of who Ronald's LLP is. We are a modern professional services firm, and we provide services in audit, in business advisory, in consulting, in compliance, in tax, from the international taxation to representation. I know KRA has been mentioned somewhere, to presenting you to the authorities. We believe in ensuring that we are looking at your businesses to ensure growth, professionalism, and sustainability were creating impact. And I'm glad I've had a lot of about sustainability tonight. We are about 150 staff, and we have offices in Kenya, situated at 136 Manyani East Road. We also have we have also some offices in Uganda, and I think I'm glad we have our keynote speaker from Uganda, Kampala. And we also have offices in Rwanda, Tanzania, and we work across the globe. We are also affiliated with an association called Alineo Global. We serve over 2,000 clients, and we have 8 partners across. And I think because today we are celebrating women, I was among the first, I was rather the first woman partner at the firm, and I really thank the firm of also recognizing women in their growth. So on to the main agenda, why Joyce is standing here and asking me to read our statement of assurance. So Ronald's LLP has concluded that the nomination, judging, voting, and final winner selection process for the WIM Awards 2025 were conducted in a transparent, fair, and well-governed manner. The nomination process adhered to clearly defined eligibility criteria, which were constantly applied across all entries. Judges were selected based on their industry expertise and independence, with necessary confidentiality agreements in place to ensure impartiality. A structured evaluation methodology was applied with standardized scoring criteria that aligned with objectives of the award. The nomination and judging processes demonstrated compliance with best practices and no identified deviations from the established selection framework. The voting and final winner selection processes followed a robust and verifiable methodology. The tallying process ensured accuracy with scores derived from weight evaluations that were independently reviewed. No discrepancies, manipulation, or undue influence were observed in the scoring and final selection process. The audit review further confirmed that the selection process was unbiased and the results accurately reflected the merit-based assessment of the nominees. Based on our evaluation, the integrity and credibility of the WIM Awards 2025 were upheld, and the outcomes can be relied upon as a fair representation of the nominees' achievements. Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. A big hand clap to Ronalds. Also, their expertise was voluntary. It was a sponsorship to us. I just had one statement to make also. We had such credible nominations, but unfortunately, some of them did not bring their evidence in good time. So if your name was there and you feel really you deserved it, just check, did you provide enough evidence? And I want to say we have done this from many years of experience, borrowing from the Energy Management Awards, and I hope to see women there also, please. We are doing our 21st awards in 2 months' time. We are still open for applications. So we borrowed from that expertise, and we hope that you're going to celebrate the women that are coming forth. Terian, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. Let's appreciate the judging team and the judging committee. Thank you all so much. So, are we ready? Are we ready? All right, and we'll go right in. Our first award this evening is the WIM Startup and Innovator of the Year Award. This winner showcased entrepreneurial spirit by overcoming early-stage challenges, providing adaptability, and introducing transformative advancements in manufacturing. I'd like to welcome on stage Joyce Karanja, KAM Board Director, to hand over this award. Let's appreciate Joyce as she makes her way to the stage.
Attends, je vais partir le couper, oh. Mais on dit premier gaou n'est pas gaou. C'est deuxième gaou qui est.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the second runner-up of the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year 2025 is Adrian Juma from Tiankara Creations. Adrian Juma from Tiankara Creations. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. We recognize this is a woman-led manufacturing startup that has demonstrated growth, innovation, resilience, and impact to the industry. Ladies, let's move to the center of the stage. All right, a hearty congratulations to Adrian Juma from Tiankara Creation. Hearty congratulations, Adrian Juma. And now the first runners-up of the WIM Startup and Innovator of the Year 2025 is Tei Mukunya Oundo from Nature's Lock. Tei Mukunya Oundo, Nature's Lock, please make your way to the stage. Do we have Tei in the room? Do we have a representative from Nature's Lock? All right. All right, Joyce, perhaps you could collect it on their behalf. First runner-up of the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year 2025, Tei Mukunya Oundo from Nature's Lock, being collected on her behalf by Joyce. Thank you. You may take your seat. Let's appreciate Joyce Karanja, KM Board Director, for handing over those awards. And now, for the overall winner of the Women in Manufacturing Startup Innovator of the Year, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for... Let's first call Lillian Nyawanda, KRA Commissioner Customs, who will be handing over this award. Let's put our hands together for Lillian Nyawanda, KRA Commissioner Customs, who will be handing over to the winner of the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year Award. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and now for the winner of the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year Award, let's put our hands together for Harriet Chebet Ngok of Harriet Botanicals. Hearty congratulations to Harriet Chebet of Harriet Botanicals. Harriet is the winner of the WIM Startup Innovator of the Year Award. Let's put our hands together. Hearty congratulations. The judges evaluated market impact, innovation, scalability, acknowledging all nominees for their courage and dedication to shaping the industry's future. Congratulations, Harriet. We've got a gift hamper for you as well. Let's put our hands together once more for the winner of the Startup Innovator of the Year 2025. Congratulations. Thank you, Lillian. You may take your seat. Let's appreciate Lillian Nyawanda, KRA Commissioner, Customs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now moving to the second award for the evening. That's the Women in Manufacturing ESG Warrior Award. This category is being awarded to a woman championing sustainable manufacturing through waste reduction, eco-friendly materials, renewable energy projects, and social responsibility initiatives. I'd like to welcome on stage to hand over this award, Ms. Jen Maigwa, MD, Exotic EPZ. Let's put our hands together for Jane Maigwa, MD, Exotic EPZ, who will be giving the award to the second runners-up. Ladies and gentlemen, the second runners-up for the WIM ESG Warrior Award is Hako Industries Kenya. I'd like to welcome Mary Wangere. Chair, please come up, since you already started. Let's put our hands together for Hako Industries, the second runners-up for the Women in Manufacturing ESG Warrior Award. Let's keep clapping for them as they come up. Congratulations for championing sustainable manufacturing through waste reduction, eco-friendly materials, renewable energy projects, and social responsibility. Hearty congratulations to the Hako Industries team. Congratulations to Hako Industries, the second runners-up of the ESG Warrior Award. Jane, you may take your seat. Let's appreciate Jane as she makes her way to her seat as well. I would like to now welcome Elvis Ogeto of RSM International, who will be handing over to the runners-up and to the overall winner. And he says one of the few men in the room. Let's appreciate him as he makes his way to award our next winners in the Warrior Award, the ESG Warrior Award. Ladies and gentlemen, and the first runners-up is Soko EPZ. Let's welcome Joanna Emma Maiden, Soko EPZ, the first runners-up for the ESG Warrior Award 2025. Let's keep appreciating Joanna as she makes her way to collect her award. This recipient exemplified ethical leadership and governance while also prioritizing workplace safety and biodiversity. Congratulations to the Soko EPZ team. Congratulations to the team. Elvis, do stay with us. Please stay with us for the overall winner. Ladies and gentlemen, the overall winner for the WIM ESG Warrior Award 2025 goes to Mary Ngeshu, Line Plus Group Limited. Let's put our hands together for Mary Ngeshu, overall winner of the ESG Warrior Award 2025. Congratulations, Mary, and your team. The judges assess impact on sustainability, employee well-being, and advocacy efforts, emphasizing that every nominee played a vital role in building a greener, fairer industry. Congratulations to the winner of the WIM ESG Warrior Award. Let's give her another warm round of applause. Mary Ngeshu and the Line Plus Group. Thank you so much, Elvis. This award was sponsored by RSM International. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going into our next award. And this is the Women in Manufacturing Lifetime Achiever Award. Women in Manufacturing Lifetime Achiever Award. Now, this category had only 2 nominees, I would like to call up to award our nominees, our first runners-up. I would like to invite Susan Maingi, WIM Vice Chair, to hand over this award. Let's appreciate Susan as she makes her way to the stage. This award recognizes a woman with an extensive career spanning over 15 years in the manufacturing industry, demonstrating unwavering dedication to its growth, sustainability, and development. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for our first runners-up from Line Plus Group Limited, Mary Geshu. Our first runners-up for the WIM Lifetime Achiever Award. Let's appreciate her as she makes her way to the stage. Hearty congratulations.
She'll put a smile upon her face and take you to the high.
Hearty congratulations to Mary Geshu and the Line Plus Group. She is the first runners-up for the WIM Lifetime Achiever Award 2025. Congratulations to Mary for an extensive career demonstrating unwavering dedication to growth, sustainability, and development. Ladies and gentlemen, and the winner for the Women in Manufacturing Lifetime Achiever Award 2025, let's welcome Ms. Agnes Nentunze, our keynote speaker, to hand over the award. Let's appreciate Agnes as she makes her way to the stage to hand over this award. All right, and the overall winner of the WIM Lifetime Achiever Award goes to Miriam Golo Bamburi Cement. Let's put our hands together for Miriam Golo from Bamburi Cement, the overall winner of the WIM Lifetime Achiever Award 2025.
Strength of a woman.
This award recognizes a woman whose career reflects a consistent commitment to advancing the manufacturing industry, marked by lasting contributions that have positively impacted manufacturing practices and standards. Let's put our hands together one more time for Miriam Golo from Bamburi Cement, our winner for the WIM Lifetime Achiever Award 2025.
Of life astounds me to this day. I give it up for the woman.
Hearty congratulations to our winner of the Lifetime Achiever Award 2025,
She's the
Miriam Golo
wind that
of
fills my
Bamburi
sail.
Cement.
Oh, that woman.
All right, let's put our hands together for the team that has come with Miriam from Bamburi Cement.
That's a woman. She'll put a smile upon her face and take
Congratulations
you to the higher place.
to Miriam Golo
So
from Bamburi Cement. And thank you, Agnes. Let's appreciate our keynote speaker as well for handing over this award. And that award was sponsored by RSM International. Thank you so much for making this possible. All right, and to our next award this evening, ladies and gentlemen, the WIM Executive of the Year Award. The Executive of the Year Award 2025 recognizes an exceptional woman in an executive leadership role who has demonstrated outstanding performance and transformative impact within her organization and the wider industry. I would like to welcome to hand over this award Ashit Shah, Board Director at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. I'm told Ashit was not able to make it, so I would like to welcome our CEO, Tobias Alando, to hand over this award. Let's appreciate our CEO as he makes his way to the stage to hand over the second runner-up for the Women Executive of the Year Award. And our second runner-up is Ruth Mbithe Mwendi of LX Products Limited. Ruth Mbithe Mwendi of LX Products Limited. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she makes her way. Ruth, I hope you're here with us. Do we have a representative from LX Products Limited? All right, Joyce. Please come and do the honors. Thank you so much. The second runner-up, Ruth Mbithe Mwendi of LX. All right. And now for the first runner-up of the Women Executive of the Year Award, I would like to welcome Sophia Hassan, Country Treasurer at AFCTA Kenya, to hand over the Women Executive of the Year Award to our first runner-up. Let's give Sophia Hassan a warm round of applause as she comes to hand over the award to our first runner-up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first runners-up is Dr. Gasheri Mugao from Sheth Group of Companies. Let's put our hands together for Dr. Gasheri Mugao from the Sheth Group of Companies. This award is sponsored by AFCTA Kenya and celebrates a woman's visionary leadership, strategic acumen, and commitment to fostering a diverse and inclusive workplace, and has effectively driven growth and innovation while championing best practices in management and governance. Let's put our hands together for Sheth Group of Companies. Asante, please pass our regards to Daktari. Let's appreciate Chef Naturals, our first runners-up for the Executive of the Year Award. And now for the winner, I would like to welcome to hand over this award, Elizabeth Wasuna Ochwa, Business Banking Director at AFCTA Kenya. She will be handing over this award to our overall winner of the WIM Executive of the Year Award 2025. Let's appreciate Elizabeth as she makes her way to the stage as we celebrate another exceptional lady who has demonstrated outstanding performance and transformative impact within her organization and the wider industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the overall winner of the WIM Executive of the Year Award 2025 is Lina Githuka of Kwa. Let's give Lina a warm round of applause. Congratulations, Lina. Lina is the CEO of the Kenya Wine Agencies Limited. Let's give her a warm round of applause. She's celebrated for her visionary leadership, strategic acumen, and commitment to fostering a diverse and inclusive workspace, and has effectively driven growth and innovation. Congratulations, Lina. The Qual team, please come up on stage. Congratulations to Lina and her team. Let's appreciate them one more time. The overall winner of the WIM Executive of the Year Award 2025.
Modernization, chicken from any pressure, rotation.
Let's appreciate Lina Gizuka, CEO Qual, overall winner. Congratulations, congratulations.
Oh my nigga, sharp bro. Oh my nigga, sharp bro. Cover face like a badger. Get feel like we know they cut. TikTok boys them tap. Pass for the shit na baba.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the peak of our ceremony this evening. Our final award is the Woman Industrialist of the Year Award. This award is sponsored by EABL. Let's appreciate East Africa Breweries Limited for sponsoring the Woman Industrialist of the Year Award. This category recognizes a woman in an executive leadership role who has driven transformational change, innovation, and inclusivity in her organization and the industry. I would like to welcome up on stage from GIZ, Michelle. I hope Michelle is still here with us. At least I got your name right this time. Let's welcome Michelle to hand over our second runner-up, WIM Industrialist of the Year Award 2025. Second runners-up, let's put our hands together for Alexandra Chapate from African Originals. Let's put our hands together for Alexandra Chapate from African Originals, our second runner-up for the Women Industrialist of the Year Award. Let's put our hands together for the African Originals team as they make their way to the stage to collect this incredible award, the Women Industrialist of the Year, second runners-up. Let's put our hands together for them as they make their way to the stage.
Baby, I promise I go still show. Spending money, Pablo. I suppose she locates, but I go buy Belgium. My money na alele, high pressure. But it's like she ma balaba, put on for high tension. You must apply your team, big boy, you must apply plenty. Mismanage my funds on you. All I really wanna do is mismanage my funds. Mismanage my funds on you. All I wanna do is mismanage my funds. Alright, okay.
Hearty congratulations to Alexandra Chapate from African Originals, who was ably represented by her team. Let's put our hands together once more for our second runners-up for the Women Industrialist of the Year. Thank you so much, Michelle. You may take your seat. Let's appreciate Michelle for helping us award this incredible, incredible women. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our first runner-up, I'd like to welcome once again on stage our CEO, Mr. Tobias Elando, to hand over the award to the first runner-up of the WIM Industrialist of the Year Award 2025. And the first runner-up, is it runner-up or first runners-up? Runners-up for the WIM Industrialist of the Year 2025. Let's put our hands together for Mary Ngeshu, Line Plus Group. Let's put our hands together. Congratulations to our first runners-up for the WIM Industrialist of the Year Award. This winner demonstrated visionary leadership and strategic growth while championing diversity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Mary as she comes to collect the first runners-up of the WIM Industrialist of the Year. Congratulations, Mary. Hearty congratulations, Mary Ngeshu, CEO Line Plus Group, our first runners-up for the Women Industrialists of the Year 2025. Thank you so much and congratulations. Thank you, CEO. You may take your seat. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to hand over this award Agnes Nentunze, CEO Arise Collections Uganda. Please come and join us on stage. And Waithera Mwai from EABL, please come and join us on stage to hand over our key award this evening to the overall winner of the WIM Industrialist of the Year Award 2025. Let's appreciate Waithera and Agnes as they make their way to the stage. In this category, the judges assess leadership effectiveness, strategic impact, and industry contributions, reaffirming that all nominees are driving excellence in leadership and making a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, the overall winner of the WIM Industrialist of the Year Award 2025 is Mary Ann Musangi, CEO of Hako Industries. Let's put our hands together for Mary Ann Musangi, CEO of Hako Industries.
People we haven't mentioned here, and the most important is all of you, you make this come alive. So for me, my final words is, from the nuggets I got was, ladies, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So let's keep on dreaming, let's keep fighting, and with every new day that comes, let's have new strength and new thoughts. So with that few remarks, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you this year and the next awards. And let's just enjoy ourselves. Asanteni, thank you. Oh, and Terry-Ann. Thank you, Terry-Ann. Thank you. Big hand for Terry-Ann. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I guess that marks the end of the formal part of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the bar is now open. And it's Friday, but don't drink and drive. It's been amazing to have all of you here. We'd like to thank Kenya Association of Manufacturers for a wonderful, wonderful night. The Boombox Band, I believe you're still here with us and will be entertaining us for a little bit more. So for now, Enjoy, dance a little bit, network, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Good night.
How far?
Hello? Yes, ma'am. Unaona rough road umefika, just follow it to the end, you'll see a brown apartment.
Nimepaona. Tena.
Dad. Mom. Asante.
Impressive. Mom, Dad hajaleta gift.
Guys, tukuleni.
Jay, amazing.
Dad, your keys.
Mama yako alikufundisha kupika, na mimi nikakufundisha kuendesha gari. Gari hili ni lako.
Mlo sio chakula tu, ni kutunza mahusiano.
Mchele inakaa kutoka miezi 4, that is 120 days, na ikienda sana inafikisha 130. Komboka iko na mazao mingi kwa sababu kwa eka moja natoa 55 bags. Na bishori ni 25 bags. Kwa hivyo hii mchele nikiuza na 7,000 niko mbele sana kuliko huyu wa bishori.
So in September is when we launched the CL Kumboka rice. It's an aromatic rice, so again it's featuring in the same stable as the Pishori rice. But it's better value for the consumer. Pishori rice is, you can say, the most premium quality aromatic rice. Kumboka, in terms of price point, comes lower down. So we are able to offer equal, good quality aromatic rice at a lower price to our consumers. And also we have done some contract farming with some of the farmers and said that, look, we will fund them, they'll grow for us this variety, and then we are going to guarantee an offtake at a guaranteed price from them. And that's how we have started. This has only been 2 seasons into it. If we don't, we have to support the farmers to ensure that they make good money out of it. And then on the other side, when it comes to the market, the reason why we are launching it as CIL Kumboka is to bring awareness to the public. Kenya consumes about 1.2 million tons of rice, but we are only growing 20% of that consumption. The balance 80% is imported. So it's that we have to grow and support these farmers to grow more of this rice so that we can close that deficit between what is grown here locally and what we are importing.
When made with Pearl, every rice dish you make now loves you back. Because Pearl is now Kenya's first fortified rice with the goodness of iron, zinc, and essential vitamins like B6, B12, and folic acid. Pearl, a plate full of nutrition, a plate full of love.
And anticipating the challenges of tomorrow, helping build long-term value today. At the heart of RSM are our people, whose talents, ideas, and energy drive us forward. A collective of 60,000 curious minds, pushing innovation in over 120 countries. Combining local knowledge with global insights, we harness data and real-world experience, building trust that's unmatched and confidence that grows, working together to look further, giving you what you need to take charge of change.